Once I've finished entering in all of my transactions for the month of January, according to my January monthly transactions, all the way through January 31st, I'm ready to reconcile my bank statement. You can follow these steps or pay attention to the video and learn how to reconcile your checking account. In order to reconcile, I'm going to be looking mostly at the bank statement, which is on the back side of your monthly transaction sheets. If you notice, if we add up all of these transactions that we made in January, all the way through 131, we get an amount that's about $345 as an ending balance. However, our bank statement says that our ending balance is $160.80. The reason for this is that sometimes when you write a check or you make a payment, the bank does not process it right away. So it might take a few days. For instance, our check that we wrote for $450 for our rent, it was written on January 31st. As you can see here, it did not make it through to the bank because they did not deposit it yet. However, we know we made the payment, so we need to include it. But when reconciling with the bank, we're going to go through and check off the checking summary and everything that cleared the bank and make sure that it ties out. So when we reconcile, we're going to be looking at the ending balance. And as we go into later months, the beginning balance will also change. And then we're going to look through and we're going to make sure that we've accounted for every single one of the items that are listed on the bank statement. So in order to reconcile the bank, after we've entered in all of our transactions, we have this running total of $345.24. So once we enter in all our transactions, we're going to go to Account Actions and click on Reconcile. And that's going to bring up a new window. Now, if we look back at our bank statement, we see that our opening balance or our beginning balance was $0, and our ending balance was $160.80. I'm going to put that information there, so we have $0 there, and our ending balance is $160.80. Now, our statement ending date is 1/31 of 2015. So we can see that that information is right here, statement date. And I'm going to update that on the reconciliation window. So after we've entered in information on number 1, we're going to move down to number 2. And if we look back at our bank statement, we see that in other account activity, there was a service charge for $5. Sometimes banks charge you money in order to manage your account. We need to account for that information. So I'm going to go where it says service charge here on the pop-up window. I'm going to put $5 because that's how much we were charged. And I'm going to go over to the date and I'm going to enter in January 30th of 2015. Because if I look down at the date, it says that that was charged on January 30th. And we know we're working in the year 2015. We don't have any interest earned this time around, so we're going to leave that blank. And we're going to hit OK. And that'll bring us to the next window. And this is the list that you are going to need to compare with your bank statement. And we're going to go through and check off every item that shows up. So we know that first of all, we need to check off our deposit that was made on 1/3. And if you look back at this list, on the left-hand side, we have payments and checks. So those are all the expenses or the cash outflow. If we look on the right, we have deposits, which is the cash inflow or the income that we used. So we need to check off that deposit that we got on 1/3 of 2015. And then we need to check off our expenses. We know that we have to check off our payment, our electric bill to National Electric Company on January 8th. And then we go back and we keep checking back and forth between our bank statement and our register to make sure we get all of the transactions. And now we need to check off check number 102 for our concert tickets. Going back to the bank statement, we also need to check off our wireless bill or from Verizon. So we'll check that off. We also need to check off check number 103 on January 19th. And we also need to check off our transaction to our insurance, our payment to our insurance company on January 28th. So now we've gone back and forth between our bank statement and this list, and we've checked off all of the different payments that have cleared the bank during the month. The other ones that are not checked off means that those payments have not been processed yet, and the bank doesn't know that they've happened yet. But we do, and it's important to keep track of this because oftentimes what you have and what the bank has is different, and you want to make sure that all the payments are tying out. So this is what what your parents may have called balancing a checkbook. So if that makes any sense. But once we finish off and we've checked off every transaction, we've checked it against our bank statement, we're going to look down in the bottom right-hand corner, and we're going to make sure that our balance ties out. We want that difference to be 0. If it is not 0, it means that you may have entered in some transactions incorrectly and you have to go back and fix them. Or it means that you may not have highlighted certain charges that showed up on the bank or did not show up on the bank. And so once we see that our bank account and our check register are reconciled, we're going to click on Finished. And it's going to ask you if you would like to create a report, and we're going to hit no because we're just going to keep moving on. And so now once we've done January, we've reconciled with the bank, we're ready to move on to February. And we're going to go through the same process where you're going to first enter in all of the transactions and then go through the same process to reconcile your bank account. And just one thing to note, when you click reconcile for the next month, your opening balance is going to be $160.80, which was the ending balance in January. So it is a running total, and then you're going to have to enter in a new ending balance once you finish entering all of your transactions and you've looked at your February bank statement.